Hello again, this is guide number 7. I want to do a quick one on cook systems, stove, pots, pans, cups, cutlery, things like that. So um, essentially in Sweden, they supply you with the fuel for your stove, or if you're using a little alcohol burner, they'll give you the fuel for that as well. But you do need to have your own bottle for that. They won't supply a bottle. When you get your gas registration on the Thursday, they do this size one and they do the next size up, and they're, I don't know if you can see, they're screw top ones that your stove screws onto. Now the type of cook system you have, there's again a vast selection of different ones, ranging from something like this, which is a Trangia set. Very popular for years these were, and it's all, everything is inside the set itself. So this particular one's got a kettle in as well. You don't need that really, but it's got a kettle. It has a couple of pans. These two sections set up together like this, that way, so you can sit your pans in the top, and the bottom part acts as a windbreak. So you get the gas stove part that clips into the bottom of there, into the bottom of here, and comes through this hole on the side to your gas bottle. And they're really good in the sense that they're very well protected from the wind. They're a modular system, so that they're aluminium, so they're light as a feather as well. Or you also get the big frying pan as well. The only problem with the Transia, I think, is that they're bulky, but they do perform very, very well. I use my one as like a base camp cook system. So quite often when I go on a weekend to go camping and hiking, what I'll do is I'll finish work on the Friday, drive to a campsite, pitch on the campsite, and I'll use this to cook my evening meal and my breakfast. And then the next morning I'll set off on a hike with me backpack, with me actual camping stuff, me wild camping stuff, which is smaller, lighter, easy to carry. So this is, like I say, this is kind of my base camp one, but I know a lot of people who do use them on multi-days. What I use, this is my entire cook system in there pretty much. It's this is called a Soto New River pot. It's got the rubber covered handles on. That's a 1 litre pot, which is ample for, you boil up a litre of water, that's easily enough for your dehydrated meal and a cup of tea, coffee, hot chocolate, whatever you want to have with that. So that's the pot I use. The stove I use is, I fit in this little bag here, and it is, that's it. It's called a Soto Windmaster. You can get any amount of different ones of these, like MSR pocket rockets. I think there's a BTS one. There's loads, absolutely. You can get them cheap as chips on Amazon as well. The Windmaster is a little bit more expensive. It has the piezo igniter on the side as well. This bit that fastens around it goes around the top here, and that's it there. That's your stove. And you literally just fasten onto your gas bottle, and away you go. Now, what I do use, you can get different designs of these things as well. But that's the gas bottle on there now. And in order to stop that, to give it a bit more stability, because if the ground's a bit uneven and you've got a pot with a litre of water on, it's top heavy. So what I have, you can get different ones. You get the ones that are like a triangle and the legs fold out. I really like this MSR gas can supporter. Basically, you put it in the two sides there and then pull this black part back onto the gas bottle, and there it is. And it gives you a much bigger platform, so it's a lot more stable on the ground, less likely to fall over. Another option you've got, which again MSR, believe it or not, is this thing. Essentially what you do is you open that out. The gas bottle fastens onto here, that side there. Your stove screws into this end, so then you've got essentially a remote gas bottle. So your gas bottle's off to the side. That puts your stove much closer to the ground, and it's quite a big footprint, so it gives you a lot more stability as well. I tend to use that in winter, and the reason for this is your gas, you get different mixtures of gas, so they'll have a certain level of propane, butane, whatever else is in there. And what can happen obviously when you're using it, as a liquid turns into a gas, it cools. So your gas can freeze up if the temperature is already really cold outside. By having the remote system, what you can do is, while you're sitting cooking there, you can have the gas can tucked under your leg or something like that, and it helps to keep it warm, stops it cooling down too much, because if it cools a lot, the pressure drops and you might not get the flow of gas coming through, even though you've got plenty of gas in the can, and it might not be enough to boil your water. That's happened to me a couple of times in pretty cold temperatures. Now, it didn't happen last year in Sweden, but you never know. I mean, if the temperature really drops overnight, it's a possibility. Another thing you can do is you can get covers for your gas cans. This one's got a cover on. That's a cover that I made out of an old fleece jacket, like an offcut from an old fleece jacket. And that fits nice and snug over there. So what I tend to do is, on the morning I get up, I'll grab my gas can before I put me water on to boil, and I'll just shove it in my sleeping bag with this, just to warm the gas can up a little bit, to try and mitigate the cooling down. By having it remote, you can have the gas running while you have it tucked under your leg or something like that, whereas obviously when it's on the bottom like that, you can't protect it so much. Now, as I say, there are any amount of these different types of stoves you can get all over the place. That's it lit up. Now this one, the Soto Windmaster, I mean, it's a bit of a beast, to be fair. There's that Dutch guy that I had in one of the other videos when I posted the link. He's done a review of lots and lots of different gas stoves and everything. And to be honest, the only thing that outperforms the Soto Windmaster of the ones he's tested that I'm aware of is a jet boil. But then a jet boil is a big, heavy, bulky thing by comparison. I mean, that weighs something like 70 grams, the Windmaster. I saw a really good infographic a few months ago now, where it had all the different ones: the MSR Pocket Rocket, the Pocket Rocket Deluxe, the BTS 3000, I think it is, the Windmaster, the Alchemist, which is another Soto stove. And what they did was they had 3 pictures for each stove, and the first one was like 0 miles an hour. This is wind simulation, 0 miles an hour. The next one is at something like, I'm going to say 15 miles an hour, which is what, 25 kilometers an hour ish. And the next one was like 30 miles an hour, which is going to be 48, 49 kilometers an hour. And when you look at them all, you can see the flame deflected by the wind, even at the low level, for pretty much all of them. The one stove that almost didn't change at all, Windmaster. Honestly, I cannot speak highly enough of that stove. It's a cracking bit of kit. The jet boils, I don't have one. I used to have a cheap version of one by a company called Fire Maple. You can get them on Amazon. It was probably about 40 or 50 pounds, and that's a cheap one because the jet boils can be in excess of £100 or €100. But essentially, what the jet boil is it's a pot like this, generally a bit taller. I mean, the jet boil Minimo is that kind of size, but you've got jet boil Zip and countless others. But essentially what it is, it's again a modular system, and on the bottom it has this kind of setup with the heat exchanger fins on the inside. Now that helps the heat, it holds the heat in there and radiates it, and that means the water will boil quicker. But to be honest with you, it literally boils the water about 20 or 30 seconds faster for a litre than the Windmaster. So for the sake of the bulk and the extra weight and all that, I'd rather just not bother, and I'd just have this thing. But again, personal preference. You know, some people really swear by the jet boil stuff, and that's great, whatever works for you. So that's stoves and pots and pans. I mean, to be honest, that's all you kind of need, unless you're actually cooking a meal. Then you might want to have a pan of some description. Now, I've got this little fella. It's a non-stick frying pan, and that's Soto as well. That's a really handy bit of kit if you wanted to make pancakes or fried eggs or something like that on the trail. You can take that, and that weighs, I think it's something like 60 or 70 grams. There's nothing to it. In terms of plates, cups, pots and pans, I mean, I generally don't bother unless I was taking this and I was going to cook something there, but I use plastic cutlery rather than metal cutlery, so I could even eat out of that if I needed to. But in terms of cups and plates and things, you can get just a plastic cups and plates, really light. I mean, the first cup I had when I started wild camping was this thing, and it's more like an insulated travel cup than anything else. It's not heavy, there's no weight to it, but again, it's a bulky thing. Then I moved on to this, which is a Soto Summit Eclipse, I think it's called. That's quite a nice light one. I got that as part of a set that had a couple of plates in and a bowl. But again, unless you're going to shove stuff like your wash kit in there or something, it just takes up a lot of space. What I'm using now is this. It's a Soto Summit Frontier cup. And basically it's a silicone cup that folds flat. That's a great bit of kit. And I have got a bigger one, which opens out. It's quite substantially bigger. I mean, that first one I showed you, this one, small enough to go inside that one. It's, you know, you can see the size difference quite a lot. So if you like a big cup of coffee, you can get that size one if you're just a regular one. And as I say, they both go flat. Now, the Frontier, or it used to be called Soto Summit X cutlery or something like that. You can also get the fold down bowls and the small bowl. I mean, this is the small bowl. That one's classed as a plate, but when you collapse them all down, they all fit inside each other. So you can see they take up no space whatsoever, and there's no real weight in them. So they're a good bit of kit. Now, in terms of, you see a lot of people will use a spork, and some people will use a long fork. Personally, when I'm using the dehydrated meal bags, I don't like to use a spork or like a long-handled fork, because there's a couple of times, and maybe just me being clumsy, where the prongs of the fork have gone through the bag and I've ended up with a leak. So I tend to just use spoons. Now, you've got your titanium type spoons, and you can pick these up for peanuts. Honestly, I think that one was about £8 or something. Life Venture one weighs about 19 grams, I think. So it's titanium. There's nothing to it. The one I like to use is this one. It's a Soto Summit long fork. And the reason I like that one is you can see the head's a lot bigger, and I've got a big gob, so you get more on there. Plus, also, if you were using this, you're not going to scratch the non-stick, whereas the titanium one may well do that. So, other things you'll see on the trail, you'll see people carrying something like that. Cookser, the carabiner just hanging off the backpack. So if they want to get some water, they just get it out of the stream. Now, the thing is, whilst there was quite a bunch of people using these types of things, or their regular cup, and just scooping water out of the water sources, I'm always looking to do that. I mean, this year in the West Island Way in Scotland, there's been a lot of posts on Facebook about people getting various viruses and stuff drinking filtered water because of a particular stream. Now, the thing is, if you're going to take from a stream or something like that, you really need to check further upstream first to make sure there's no dead animals or anything like that that could maybe be polluting the water before it gets down to you. So you always really need to check that. In order to make things a little bit safer, I use a water filter personally. I use this is the one I use. It's a Catadin B free. It has a pretty good filter in there and a charcoal filter as well for the taste and everything. It's a 1 litre soft bag. It weighs about 70 grams, 65 grams, something like that. You can get other ones. There's one called Pure Clear, which does viruses as well. You've got Life Straw, you've got Soya. There's any amount of different ones, and the prices can vary. Everything from the cheapest Catadin, I think, is like £35 or so, £40, all the way up. I've seen some of them that are like well over 100 quid. So it just depends on what you want to, how far you want to invest in that. But I'm a big believer in the water filters. What you can do in addition to that, Life Systems you can get what's it called, chlorine dioxide or something. Tiny little bottles, and you just put a drop in or two, and it's the same as your water purification tablets, but it doesn't have so much of a taste, or almost no taste at all. And you can put that in, and that'll kill any viruses off. But also you can boil your water as well before you use it. So if you filter it then boil it, you should actually be okay. The rule of thumb with boiling, or what was told to me many moons ago when I was in the Scouts, was get the water to a rolling boil. So it's not just boiling, keep it going for a little while. And the phrase that was used for you to remember it was big bubbles, no troubles. Sounds corny as anything, but that's the rule of thumb. So you get it so it's a roll and boil, big bubbles. That's basically everything I want to say about cook systems. If you're a person that uses the little liquid alcohol stoves, they're lighter again, but they take way longer to boil water. They can be a bit fiddly. You've got to carry the fuel, so you're not really saving it that much weight anyway. In Sweden last year, like I say, they gave you either this size or the slightly bigger one. So it's pretty much double that size. What I found was using this stove last year, I used maybe 2/3 of one of the bigger ones, and that was it. I didn't even use a full can. So this year, I'll probably just do the same, get one of the bigger ones. I won't bother with the little ones, or maybe just grab 2 of them. Whatever works. But that's what you get on the Thursday when you register with Hogglitz, Colin. And yeah, that's it. So that's a quick one on cook systems. I'll do one possibly on preparations, actually, sort of things you can do to get yourself ready for it if you're new to long distance hiking and through hikes where you're camping each night as well. So that'll probably be my next one. Might do that tomorrow possibly. But yeah, thanks for watching and hope it's been useful, and see you on the next one.